everyone. We're going to go ahead and start our meeting. We have with us Ms. Sue Browning, Reverend Sue Browning. Ms. Browning is with us from TACO, and we asked her to do the opening prayer for us. So, Sue, I'll turn it over to you for our opening prayer.
Thank you so much. Sound check sounding good? Everything's good? Yes. Thank you for including the faith community as a moment of centering here. Just before I offer the prayer, I just want to say that this council has been through so much this year. If I think about the many challenges, the details, everybody who's prepared something for tonight, on behalf of myself, the faith community, and the whole community, thank you. Literally, lives rest in what you do. So I invite us now, in this week of almost Thanksgiving, to step back from all of this. And I offer some words adapted by one of my colleagues, Richard Fuchs. Spirit of life, spirit of love, spirit of community, God known in so many ways, we lift up our hearts in thanks. For the sun and the dawn which we did not create, for the moon and the evening which we did not make, for food which we plant but we cannot grow, for all those things which come to us as gifts from something beyond ourselves, gifts of life and love and friendship. We lift up our hearts in thanks on this evening, in this week. Blessings on the work you are doing tonight. Amen and blessed be.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend Browning, for that opening and wonderful prayer. We thank you so much, and have a good evening to you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council, we're going to go ahead and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't know where you're standing or sitting, but if you wouldn't mind, please stand and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. We pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, council members who are with us from the public and staff. This is our November 17th meeting. Council should have received disbursements in our Granicus. We should have had an opportunity to go through those disbursements, ask any questions of Ms. Lane, our finance officer. The chair would ask if there's any additions, deletions, or corrections to those disbursements at this time. Hearing none, the chair would move that those disbursements be accepted with unanimous consent. Council also has an agenda. Excuse me, I'm out of order here. Council also has an agenda. The agenda has been printed. Is also in our Granicus. The chair was asked if there's any addition, deletion, or correction to the agenda at this time. Hearing none, the chair would move that the agenda also be accepted with unanimous consent. Okay, so getting back on track, we now have our fourth agenda item. We're going to update our quarterly update from the Maryland Environmental Services. Steve Tomczewski, he's our managing director over at the operations center here for MES. Steve, are you with us?
Yes, Steve, are you? Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
I can. Great. Yeah, there you are.
I'm here. I have a PowerPoint. I'm not sure if that's going to. I was told someone was going to put it up for me.
Susan or
Jessica, maybe Jessica. If not, I can just read it. So,
and we have it to follow along. We're seeing it now.
Okay, we do have enough.
Okay, well, it's a pleasure to be here tonight. I want to offer congratulations to Andy Hollis on his impending retirement, and to Clay Stamp on his assuming the role of county administrator. So look forward to working with Andy, and it's going to be sad to see, working with Clay, and it's going to be sad to see Andy not being around. So, but I'm sure he'll be available. But anyway, next slide, please. Can you advance, or do I have to advance? I don't know.
Okay, guys, How do we help Steve?
Steve, you have a button there to advance it, or?
I don't think I can do it. But
I did advance it. It doesn't appear to be advancing. On the left-hand side, there is a advance. I don't know if you have to do it by yourself on the left-hand side of the screen.
For me, I don't see any.
Under the
Turns out I can control it. I'll follow. I can drive.
Okay, I mean, I can just read the presentation if that's easier.
Okay, there we go. So Pete's driving, you giving him directions. Let's see how far this goes.
Okay, that's a good team effort. Well, as you all know, MES is an independent state agency. I want to mention that we have a new acting director, Dr. Charles Glass, who's been with us 5 months now. And he's certainly put his mark on our agency, and he's certainly challenged all of us to up our game. So it's been pretty interesting. He's a degreed civil engineer with a PhD, and he's a professional engineer as well. So he's a great resource. Next slide, please. Hopefully, as you may know, we have a 80-year agreement. We're in year 30 of that agreement. We've gotten going 10 years, just about at Midshore 2, and we finished our Midshore 1 operation in 2010. Midshore 2 is scheduled to close in December of 2030. Next slide. This just reiterates what we said already. So in 2011, we started doing the transfer operation from the Midshore 1 landfill up to Ridgely for Talbot County. Go ahead, next slide. This is the Midshore 1 transfer station. We moved 22,212 tons during that 6-month period, which is quite a bit of tonnage. Yard waste, 2,100 tons. We had 15,710 homeowner drop-off customers, and we got in close to 600 tons of waste. Our biggest punch ticket is the $20 ticket. We sold 1,352 of those. Next. Our volumes have gone up rather dramatically, and it's all because of COVID. At least that's what we're attributing that to. There's been a shift in volume toward the residential waste as more people are working from home and learning how to deal with COVID. Commercial tons have dropped off a bit. Our yard waste is also going up dramatically. The primary driver for that was Tropical Storm Isaias, as well as I think the fact that everyone's home, or a lot more people are home, and they're doing a lot of yard work. We have seen a dramatic increase in yard waste. All of our other facilities in Harford County, Prince George's, and Montgomery as well. And we've also been working with the county to review plans for a repurposing facility with the DPW folks and the roads department. Next. We're doing the post-closure care, which is a 30-year arrangement at Midshore 1, dictated by Maryland Department of the Environment. Our exposed geomembrane cap is in pretty good condition. We made some minor repairs back in August. Our disposal permit to maintain the landfill operation was renewed in March of 2020. The landfill gas to energy facility has been down for significant periods due to COVID-related staffing challenges and the need for engine repairs. So during that period, we've been flaring our landfill gas collected from Midshore 1, and we will eventually get carbon credits for that gas that's burned. Next. With our Midshore recycling program during the same 6-month period, we've seen some changes. Plastic, metal, and glass volumes are up, which is kind of interesting. We also took delivery of a new front loader recycle truck in June of 2020. Replaced one of our trucks that we've been using for about 6 years now. The totals we had for that 6-month period: mixed glass, 238 tons. Mixed plastic, mixed metal, 88 tons. Mixed paper, 411. all that mixed paper goes up to Creophil in Kent County, as it has for like the last 30 years, I guess. Cardboard is 500 tons, and our glass volumes, Gramber, which is a combination of glass, we get 300 tons, and the clear glass is 207. So no real changes there, but the volumes have gone up during this COVID period. Next. We've amped up our inspections of the used oil recycling centers throughout Talbot County. There are some issues there. It's been a while, I guess 6 months ago or longer, and I think we've turned that corner. And all our sites, the recycling sites that the Midshore Recycling Program does, and the waste oil collection sites, I think are in much better shape than they've been in the past. We're pretty proud of that. I think that's my last slide, but let me add about Midshore 2. We've during that same period, that 6-month period, we took in close to 70,000 tons of waste, which puts us on track to get probably 135,000, 140,000 tons for the year, depending on how you count the calendar or fiscal year. We also are continuing to work with Queen Anne County and Caroline County to try and determine where we go for a Midshore 3 landfill. One option would be to obviously stay at Midshore 2 longer. We have excess capacity there if we get agreement to utilize that capacity. In Queen Anne County, who is next in line to start 2031, we looked at the site they own up. They call it the Gannon Farm, close to Centerville. That has some challenges. But it's property that was bought to be the Midshore 3 site. And we're also looking at options for the Baker rubble fill that we're working on with Queen Anne County. So we're doing some evaluations now, and we'll see where that progresses.
Hey, Steve, thanks for your report. Real quick,
Yeah.
Regarding Region 2, it's from what I understand, it's below its expected totals right now. If the decision was made to extend Region 2 out beyond the
2030.
Right, beyond
Yeah.
2030. Thank you. Does all participating counties have a voice in that, or how does that work?
That's one of many questions. That's a good question. The two counties that are most interested, obviously, are Caroline and Queen Anne on that. But to be honest, that's a legal question. I'm not sure of the answer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another question to get resolved. There's a number of issues that we have to work through. So that's a good question.
Okay. All right.
It is a partnership, and
right.
I would hope that we would all four counties would agree on the where we head. So
okay.
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, well,
yeah. Well,
thank you very much. That was easy. I saved a heck of a lot of driving. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
I will. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, Council, moving right along, your next item is another presentation. We're going to hear a comprehensive economic development strategy. This is the CEDS project. Cassandra Vanhooser. I saw her in the building earlier. I guess she's on with us now. Cassandra, are you with us? Are you here with us?
I'm here.
Okay. Well, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Pack, and thank you, County Council, for the opportunity to talk to you about the comprehensive economic development strategy for the Midshore region. We are, as you know, part of the Midshore Regional Council, and that includes Caroline, Dorchester, and Talbot counties. The Midshore Regional Council maintains a comprehensive economic development strategy for our region. And each year we're invited to make nominations for projects that should be added to that list. Now, we already have a number of projects on that list, and you will find that they are our county priorities. Our regional medical facility is on there. The Mistletoe Hall Farm is on there, which is now our Commerce Business Park under development. There is the Port Street redevelopment project submitted by the town of Easton, as well as Chesapeake Harvest, the St. Michael's wastewater treatment plant, Frederick Douglass Park on the Tuckahoe, and others. This document really establishes the blueprint for the economic development projects for our region, and being listed in this document is essential when it comes to seeking federal funding. So, as you know, we were able to get, in partnership with the town of Easton, an EDA grant to develop Mistletoe Hall Farm. And there are other projects like this that are in our past, and hopefully many more in our future. So it is time again to make a nomination nominations, as it were, for the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy. So I'm coming to you tonight to ask your support and permission to nominate the Ferry Point Wastewater System Project for consideration by the Midshore Regional Council. Scott Warner is with us tonight, and I'm going to lay out briefly how the process works, and then I'll ask him to jump in. And there is a CEDS committee which will consider the projects, rank them, and send them on to the entire Midshore Regional Council. The Regional Council will vote whether to accept this project into the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy. So again, I'm asking your permission to submit this project. Now, I've worked with Ray Clark, our county engineer, to identify this project as a priority. And as you know, he's been working for some time now to develop the plans for the Ferry Point project down there, the wastewater treatment facility. And what this will do is that it will enable the commercial properties down there to continue to develop. Some of them have failing septic systems. Some of them are in expansion mode, which is a real bright star on our horizon. Composite Yachts, for example, has built a large expansion down there. They're in the process of building that, but they need a sewer system to accommodate that. Ferry Point Marina, Talbot Landing Motel, and there are other commercial properties down there that are for sale that would have a better opportunity to develop with a wastewater treatment facility. And Mr. Clark, has worked to finalize that preliminary engineering report, and he has engaged the community. You all have participated in work sessions about this project. So he estimates that the project will cost $2.6 million. And he will be applying for USDA rural development funds for this project. And again, having the Ferry Point project listed on the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy will increase our chances of getting funding for this. And I really see this with Cambridge developing their property across the river. You know, I think that there are some really wonderful things that could happen here, in addition to supporting the businesses we already have there. I mean, if you haven't seen the addition that Composite Yachts is building down there, it's really impressive, and it's exciting to see that we have a business in expanding like that. So I'm going to stop chattering on now and let Scott Warner jump in and give some comments at this time. Scott, are you with us?
Yeah, I think so. Just nod your head if you can hear me, Cassandra.
I can hear you.
I was having some technical challenges here on WebEx. That was my fault. Sorry. Yes, I know last year Cassandra came to you, and I supported her last year for the Frederick Douglass, and I know that got on the CEDS with no problem. And this year, I know in the letter that you received, you're looking to possibly get some USDA grant funding. I can let you know from our CEDS committee that USDA actually sits on, they informed us several years ago, and I remind the committee every year, when such projects like this, even though they might not go for Economic Development Administration grant funds, but they go for USDA grant funds. They are sister agencies. And so when a USDA grant goes in and it is part of the CEDS process, and we have neighboring counties that have received millions of dollars literally from USDA for other projects, wastewater type projects. And we were told that one of the main reasons they got funding was because they had to be on a comprehensive type plan. And the number one plan that USDA looks at is the CEDS documents that we do for EDA. So it has great benefits across multiple agencies. So once Cassandra, if you choose to submit this, once you guys submit this to our CEDS executive committee, and then it will go hopefully right to in our January meeting and get adopted, and we can put it on the plan. So Cassandra did a great job explaining everything else, so I don't want to take any more of your time other than if I can answer any questions.
Scott, I think it's worth noting that there are CEDS in jurisdictions all across the country. This is not just something that we do here, even though it's an important component of the Midshore Regional Council and of the work that we do here. This is a national process that other projects go through and other regions go through to establish their priorities. So I think that that's interesting to know as well, and something for council to know.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Economic development districts, designated economic development districts, which the Midshore Regional Council is, and actually there are hundreds of us across the country, but in the state of Maryland, there is only 3 permanent economic development districts, and that is Western Maryland, here on the Midshore, and our sister agency on the lower shore. And all 3 of the districts here have to do CEDS documents, comprehensive economic development strategies, just so projects can be the gate can be open to even apply for a grant. Your latest grant, actually in the entire region, which was done right here in Talbot County, was the Mistletoe Hall grant that received actual EDA funds, over $2 million worth. But the first part of that was to make sure it was on the comprehensive economic development strategy that opens up the gate for the federal money.
Great. Well, Cassandra, I want to thank you for your forward thinking and looking at how the Ferry Point wastewater treatment project could be certainly an economic boost for Talbot County. I would concur with you in your analysis that when you're looking right across the Chomtike into Cambridge and what they're doing, what they are planning to do across the river, once the hospital moves out of its current location and move up the street, that waterfront land there will be redeveloped. And I would probably stake a little money on it that you're going to see shops and restaurants along that water's edge. So anything we can do to keep those dollars here in Talbot County, I think the county should have the foresight to do that. Scott, good seeing you again. Thank you for your input and all that Midshore Regional Council does here in Talbot County and across the region as well. Appreciate that. So I'll open it up for any additional council comment or questions of Scott or Cassandra.
Mr. Pack, it's Andy. I just want to add to your comments and express my appreciation to Scott. He continues to assist us significantly with these CEDS applications. It's a cumbersome process, and he has continued to be supportive of the county, and it's very much appreciated.
I certainly concur, Mr. Hollis, absolutely. If there's no other comment, then Madam Secretary, since we are on virtual, I'm going to ask that you call the roll call. This is to allow the Ferry Point wastewater project to be included in the Midshore Regional Council CED package. Just to make sure that we are understanding what we're asking them to do. Aye. Ms. Marsh, your mic is still muted. You might want to unmute your mic. I can hear you down the hall, but I don't hear you through the... Let's try that again.
Mr. DeVillio?
Aye.
Yeah.
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Did we get Chuck in there? too?
Yeah. Aye.
Yes.
Okay, I missed you. Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you very much, Cassandra. And again, for all that you're doing, this is very, very good. This is one step forward. And hopefully, as Scott pointed out, we get this project into the CEDS document and potentially get some money. So the good thing.
Terrific. Thank you, Mr. Pack.
Well, thank you, Cassandra. Appreciate it. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Okay, Council, next on your agenda, we have an update of the coronavirus relief, economic security, which we all know as CARES. We're going to hear from Ms. Linda Webb. She's our Director of Social Services, and also Ms. Angela Lane, which we all know is our Finance Director. Regarding the individual assistance part of our CARES funding, as you know, Cassandra and her team, they facilitate the business side of this funding effort. But the individual side, as Linda will share with you, we're having some struggles with. So she wants to just alert council to what they're dealing with. And again, let citizens know that there's still funding available, but the window is closing. So Linda, are you with us?
I'm here.
Okay, I'm gonna stop talking and turn it over to you. There you go.
All right. Thank you so much, council members, for the opportunity to update you on the CARES Individual Assistance Program. And before I get started, I would also like to echo the sentiments that were voiced earlier and congratulate Mr. Hollis on his upcoming retirement. I hope you enjoy every second of it, but we got a few more weeks of you. And congratulate Mr. Stamp on his appointment to the county manager position. And we certainly look forward to working with you in this new role. So the last time that I spoke with you, I provided you with some background on the funding and on the creation of the CARES Individual Assistance Program in Talbot County. As Mr. Pack mentioned, we're really trying to get information out into the community about this program and make sure that the funding is available to those who need it. So this evening, I'd like to focus on first an overview of the program, then tell you a little bit about the status, where we are now with the program and with outreach. And then most importantly, provide a message to the community about the coming end of these funds and how they can access them before we lose them. So as you know, the Department of Social Services is receiving and processing applications for the Talbot County CARES Individual Assistance Program. And we're doing that with the support of the Neighborhood Service Center, with the St. Vincent de Paul Society, and from the Chesapeake Multicultural Resource Center and their hotline, which I believe was created in partnership between Talbot County and Caroline County using CARES funds. The program provides Talbot County residents with assistance, Talbot County residents who've lost income because of the public health emergency. And it can help with the cost of rent, with the cost of mortgage, utilities, car payments, sometimes car repairs. And most recently, we added assistance with the cost of licensed childcare that's needed so children can attend school virtually. Currently, we have received through today 339 applications. Through the 3rd of November, we've approved 133 payments totaling $261,452.29. We have consistently, with the help of many, many community partners, conducted a lot of outreach on this program. Currently, we are working with updated flyers. We've done a separate flyer on the child care program and have updated the general flyer to include the information about car payment assistance. We're sending those out in print, through digital means, through radio advertisements. We're doing e-blasts. We've done interviews. We are sharing the flyers and the information with many, many, many email networks. We've done a targeted postcard mailing to specific household incomes in the county. We're doing social media and lots of other ways of getting the information out into the community. Currently, we are going back through applications that remain pending, meaning we've received an application, but we haven't gotten everything we need in order to process it and approve a payment. Going back and reaching out to those individuals to see if they remain interested and in need, and then working through with them what we need in order to go ahead and process that application. The EOC recovery coordinator, Nancy Andrew, assisted us with some of those contacts, and our staff are now going back and making additional contacts to try to make sure that we're getting as many applications in and processed as possible before the funding ends. But I think my most important message is what I want to share with the Talbot County community. And that is that this funding, as of now, is only available through the end of December. Because we must even process checks to vendors by the end of the month of December, we need to get applications in by December 15th in order to have the best chance of processing them and getting payments out before the funding ends. So here's what I would appeal to you. If you have a need, rent, mortgage, utilities, car payments, or licensed childcare that you need because your children are attending school virtually, apply. You do not have to wait for a utility disconnect, an eviction notice, or a foreclosure notice to apply. Get your applications in now. There are no income limits. If you're a Talbot County resident and you've lost income because of the pandemic, or if you have a licensed childcare that you're utilizing because your children are attending school virtually, please apply now. It's a simple one-page application. Once we receive the application, we'll follow up with you to discuss your specific situation and let you know what we need to finalize that application. Information and applications can be obtained on the county's website, talbotcovid19.org, or you can call the Department of Social Services at 410-770-4848. You can press 1 if you need a Spanish language assistance, or press 5 to go directly to the CARES Individual Assistance Program. And please don't wait. We need to hear from you now if you need this assistance. So with that, I think I'll stop and answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Linda. Any questions of Ms. Webb of the COVID-19 CARES challenge we're having right now? We find ourselves in a position where we're actually begging people to take our money, you know, and I never thought I would find myself in this position where we're actually banging on doors and ringing doorbells and saying to people, we have these funds. We know there's more people out there in the community that could really use these dollars. The last thing I want to see, and Linda and Angela wants to see, is for Talbot County to give any of this money back. As a matter of fact, if you listen to the last couple of press conferences from the governor, he was basically almost scolding counties who have not spent down this money as to what are you doing. So I don't want Talbot County to be on that naughty list going into the holidays where we haven't done our due diligence to get this money into the hands of people who very much need it. So any other council members have any questions about the CARES funding or any questions of Linda about what we're trying to do here?
Mr. Pack, this is Frank DeVillio. I would just like to say, well, one, thank you, Linda Webb, for all the work that you've done. But one of the reasons that we are begging people and putting it out is these are people who've never had to ask for money before or may have never been in these situations, and they don't even know where to turn. So I hope that a lot of the faith leaders, I know they've been emailing us recently, hopefully they can help get the word out through church that there is some cash available through the county. But yeah, these are folks that have, for the most part, have never had to ask for assistance before. They always had a job and now the government's closed it or what have you. So, this is a unique time with a unique message, and I greatly appreciate all the work that you guys have done to get that message out to everyone. And it is nice to know that we do have some money still available.
Thank you, Mr. DeVillio. And I think, our little steering committee has had that conversation as well, that we are actually trying to reach families and individuals that we may have never worked with or touched before. Some of the things that we've done is to send postcards out to households with annual incomes between $50,000 and $200,000 to let those families know that this assistance is available. I had a conversation this afternoon in response to some of the outreach that we've been doing the last couple of weeks with an independent contractor who is working with a group of individuals in similar circumstances. We had, again, that very same conversation is how do you get the word out to community members that are not accustomed to having to ask for help? And what we've come to is that we just keep putting the information out into the community, and maybe the third time or the fourth time or the fifth time that I hear it, it'll click, and I will then reach out and ask for that help. So we just continue to try to get the word out into the community and hope that we reach those very people that you mentioned.
Well, and that persistence is important too, because despite all of our efforts, it doesn't always get to all the ears. And every time you do it, some more ears get to hear it. So thank you for your persistence in making sure that people really are finding out about the help that you have to offer.
Thank you, Mr. Lesher. And if anyone has any ideas about how else we can get the word into the community, we are all ears. So please reach out to me at the Department of Social Services, and we will absolutely try whatever we can to continue spreading the word through December the 15th.
Linda, let me say to you and your staff there at DSS, thank you so much for all that you guys have done. Taking this on as a county need. I also want to send thanks to Ms. Merlin Neal and her group over at Neighborhood Service Center, as well as St. Vincent de Paul, who's also a partner in this, and Chess MRC, who's also helping out with our bilingual residents here in the county to make sure they are well as well. So this has been a big team effort, and everyone focused on one just cause, which is to get these dollars into the hands of people who need them desperately. So council, if you are in the supermarket or if you're out shopping for the holidays and you hear someone say, hey, I can't pay a bill, or my neighbor's lights are about to get turned off, grab them by the elbow and get them over to DSS or down to Neighborhood Service Center. Please, if you hear about a family member here in Talbot County and a sister-in-law or niece and they're having problems, get them over there. Let's do our part to spend this money. Again, because come December 30th, any dollars that are not spent, not encumbered, but not spent, will have to be returned. Okay? Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right. Linda, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you, and your team. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I'll pass the word along.
Thank you. And council, we're going to hear another update on the COVID side of this. Linda mentioned Nancy Andrews, who has been appointed as our recovery coordinator. Nancy has done a wonderful job in my eyes since she's been appointed. She's been keeping us on track and holding weekly meetings. Nancy wants just to give us a quick snapshot over where we are in our COVID-19 efforts and testing sites. Again, as we get into this dark winter that we knew was coming, we need to continue getting people tested. So Nancy, are you with us?
I am with you. Good evening.
I'm gonna turn it over to you. There you go.
Thank you so much. So what a timely opportunity to speak to you about testing resources here in the county, given the governor's press conference today and the ongoing concern about rising test numbers, positive rates, and hospitalizations around the state. So I think we have a slide to put up on the screen. We can quickly go over what test sites we have available in Talbot County, and then maybe a few other resources that are also available by the county to support county residents. I think, as Reverend Browning pointed out in the beginning with her prayer, these are really historic times that we're all living through. There's a lot of information for us to process. And as with the CARES grants, sometimes we don't pay attention to information until we need it. And I've started to see some things pop up on social media, people suddenly asking, where can I get tested? So we want to make sure this information is readily available. And the best two sources for Talbot County residents to get a free COVID test, either through their insurance or if they do not have health insurance, the testing can be provided at no cost, is with the Talbot County Health Department, and they're currently running a drive-through testing on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And Shore Regional Health is running their testing up at Chesapeake College for Midshore residents on Mondays and Wednesdays. At this point, both of these sites report to us that they have been, their appointment capacity has been below what the number of tests that they can perform per day. But we do ask that residents make appointments when they need a test. They do not need to have a doctor's order to get a test. They do not need to have symptoms, but we do ask that they have an appointment because this is drive-through and people are waiting in their cars. We want to make their on-site test experience as efficient as possible. There are other options if people really especially have an urgent need to get that test done. Patients at the with Chop Tank Community Health can go to their Bay 100 locations for testing, and also both of the urgent care facilities in Talbot County provide a testing service to the community as well. Let me just add to this, Mr. Pack, a member of council, that really is a part of our testing operation in the county. We need to remember contact tracing. As the governor said in his press conference, and as Dr. Wadley has said to us repeatedly, we need people to answer the call. If one of our contact tracers contacts any one of us in the community, please engage in that conversation. That may mean that you've been exposed to someone else who's tested positive, and those contact tracers may confidentially ask you about who you've been in contact with. And it is really important that people be forthcoming with that information and share it confidentially so that the contact tracers can do what they need to do to help minimize the spread of this very serious virus in our community. So let me just pause there before I touch on a couple other pieces to see if there are any questions about the testing.
Nancy, I just have
all of this information. Oh, go ahead, please, Mr. Callahan.
I'm sorry. Can you tell the viewers about how long the wait would be?
How long the wait to get their test results back?
Yes.
Yes, very good question. So the health department right now is reporting typically a 48-hour turnaround with their test site. They do send their tests out of state to be processed. Shore Regional Health does their testing at their own lab, so results can be back in 24 to 48 hours, but 24 hours are possible.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, quickly, maybe if we could just move to the next slide then. So as folks are preparing for this holiday season, we just want to remind everybody that unfortunately it is not holidays as usual. The CDC has put out some great guidance that's available through the Talbot COVID-19 website, or just by Googling CDC Thanksgiving. You'll find their recommendations on how to have a safer holiday. There's no guarantee that it's safe when we get together with more than one person. And really the best recommendation is that we each celebrate Thanksgiving, celebrate the holidays with the immediate people in our household. And maybe we use Zoom or WebEx or some other form of virtual opportunity to connect with our loved ones to show that care for everyone in our community. If you do gather together with people outside of your household, we can't emphasize enough that it is still important to follow the 3 W's. Wear a mask, yes, even in your home where you may feel very comfortable. If you're with people outside your house, it is wise to wear a mask when you're not eating. Watch your distance, stay 6 feet apart, and wash your hands. And if we could just quickly move on to the next slide, I'll close it out with just an opportunity to remind county residents and our council members of just some of the great resources that the county continues to maintain for residents. We do have our Talbot COVID-19 webpage with all the links to the grant programs, to testing information, contact tracing, and any updates from the governor. Of course, the CARES Individual Assistance Program that you heard about. Cassandra Vanhooser from the Office of Economic Development and Tourism continues to host the private sector calls twice a month on Tuesdays. That information is available at talbotworks.org. And Dr. Wadley, our health officer, very generously makes herself available for those calls. So if business owners or the general community have questions, that's a great place to join the conversation. We have our Facebook page, Talbot County COVID-19, and definitely the highlight of that Facebook page is the daily dashboard update that the health department has maintained since the start of this pandemic to let residents know about our local data. We do continue to provide a variety of food resources to the community. We have 2 mobile food pantries this week, one in Trapp and one in Easton, but also our community has come together to make sure that all of our residents have the opportunity to enjoy a special Thanksgiving meal. In the Bay 100 area, St. Michael's Community Center is providing prepared meals to residents. And then here in Easton, for other Talbot County residents, in partnership with the Easton Elks Lodge number 1622, free meals are available to be picked up on Thanksgiving Day and can be delivered as well. As I said, all of that information is available on our website and on our Facebook page. And with that, I'll leave it there and hand it back to you, Mr. Pack.
Well, thank you very much, Nancy. Again, we're very fortunate to have you step into the role of recovery coordinator. That's a very broad overview that you gave, hitting a number of different points here. And again, we can't rest on this particular virus. It doesn't have any respect of person or position or race or creed. It doesn't follow the calendar. This virus is pervasive and it is deadly. And we need to continue spreading the word that people need to continue, as you said before, following those 3 W's, as well as taking advantage of the testing that's out there as well. Any council members have any other questions for Nancy or any comments on her presentation?
This is Councilman Frank DeVillio again. So I've had 2 of the COVID tests from the health department. They've both been fantastic. I've been contacts and felt the need to get the test. I would like to remind residents that we set these up because this is the fastest, most efficient way to get a test. And I'll make light of times right now, but people are going to be home now with kids. Renovation projects are going on. People are trying to do projects. They don't know what to do. They're getting cut. They're still going to need stitches. They're still going to bang their head. I would rather they come through the health department or through Shore Health to get a COVID test than walk into Choice One Community or Your Doc's Inn and spread that virus to the people who are in there with getting stitches or getting other things. We don't want them going into the emergency room and spreading COVID. We also don't want them spreading it in doctor's office. So we have set up 2 fantastic testing facilities. That is no contact, as efficient as it could possibly be, with the best nurses, just as gentle as they could be for an uncomfortable test. So I thank you for what you're doing, and I really hope that the community tries to focus on using these quick, fast resources to reduce the spread as much as possible.
Very good point, Mr. DeVillio. And maybe people didn't pick up on what Nancy said, is that both of these testing sites right now are being underutilized. People are not getting out and getting tested. And look, let's be real. Let's be real. There are going to be people who are going to ignore what the doctors and what the science is saying, and they're going to go to Jersey and New York and Connecticut for the holidays. Let's be real. They're going to do that. Well, if they're going to do that, when they come back to the county, get yourself tested. We would ask that you not travel. The governor's asking that you not travel. I join in with that request as well. But if you have the strong need that you need to travel, we have these testing sites available. As Nancy just pointed out, that they're free. You're not going to be charged anything. You don't need a doctor's note. We just ask that you call ahead of time so we don't have you waiting in line, and that's all. Anyone else? Nancy, again, thank you very much. You're doing a wonderful job. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. So next, we're going to hear from the Office on Law regarding the conclusion of 2 open meetings. The two open meetings compliance board complaints that were sent up to the board recently. Mr. Cooper Smith, are you on the line with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can. I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. So the Open Meetings Compliance Board recently issued 2 decisions related to Talbot County. The first deals with the council's July 28th meeting. The complaints allege that, quote, and I'm reading from the decision, the council did not afford the public adequate opportunity to speak during the public comment period at the July 28th meeting, that the 3 methods that the council used to enable the public to observe the July 28th meeting remotely did not work well enough to enable the public to do that and were not available to all county residents anyway. Council did not post the July 28 meetings in a timely fashion, and the council had not voted in open meeting on its decision to close the meeting room to the general public, end quote. The board concluded that the council did not violate the act with regard to the July 28 meeting. Specifically, the board found that a public body does not violate the act by failing to provide the public with the ability to offer oral comments during a meeting. The council limited public in-person attendance at the meeting in order to comply with the Talbot County Health Officer's advice about meeting safely during the COVID pandemic, and that under the circumstances, this was not a violation of the act. The council provided reasonable access to the meeting when it provided access by telephone, internet, or cable TV as substitutions for in-person attendance, and that any technical difficulties that did occur were not so extensive as to violate the act. The council promptly posted live stream video footage on the county website, which is a substitute for adopting written minutes. Thus, there was no violation with respect to the minutes. Finally, the board found that the decision of how to hold a meeting in accordance with the health officer's advice, the governor's executive orders, and the Open Meetings Act was an administrative function not subject to the act. So the first opinion is cited as 14 official opinions of the Compliance Board 83 and dated October 13th, 2020. The second decision, the second Open Meetings Compliance decision, deals with a telephone call occurring on July 27th. The complaints allege that, quote, and again I'm reading from the decision, the Talbot County Council violated the Open Meetings Act on July 28, 2020 during a telephone call that the public was not given the opportunity to observe, end quote. The Compliance Board considered that allegation and found that no violation had occurred. Specifically, the board found that, quote, on July 28, 2020, 2 council members were speaking by telephone. One of them added a third member to the call. The third member, realizing that a quorum had been formed, assumed that the other members were discussing business that the act required to be discussed in public and quickly hung up. The subject of the phone call was a logistical decision that the council had reached on July 27th on the county health officer's advice to provide the public with remote access to the meeting, scheduled for later on the 28th. And then the board said, we conclude that the county council did not violate the act and 2 members held a telephone call that a third member joined. We reached that conclusion because even if any public business was conducted in that brief time, the topic of discussion being held when the third member joined did not fall within the scope of the act, end quote. The second decision is cited as 14 official opinions of the Compliance Board 105 and dated November 4th, 2020. So in sum, there were 2 complaints, but the board found that no violations of the Open Meetings Act occurred. And please bear in mind that what I provided is simply a summary of the decisions. I would encourage anyone interested in the Compliance Board's full analysis to read the decisions themselves, which should be available on the Attorney General's website.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cooper Smith. We felt it was necessary and prudent to put those matters out into the public purview so people can understand that a decision had been reached on these 2 complaints. The Compliance Board unanimously agreed, or from what my reading is, that there was not a violation of the Open Meetings Act in either of those instances. And as you pointed out, you were just giving a synopsis of those rulings, and members of the public, if they wish to, could go online and read the entire ruling themselves. But we just want to make sure that it was public knowledge that the council has not violated in these two instances, the Open Meetings Act in question. I would like to extend my gratitude to Ms. Tori Shear and all of her work in dealing with this. Mr. Cooper Smith has been somewhat of a one-man band here as of late, with the departure of Ms. O'Donnell going off to greener pastures down in Dorchester County, if I could say that. And we had to go out and get outside counsel to deal with these matters. Did cost the county taxpayers some money, but we felt that we could not overtax Mr. Cooper Smith to the point where he couldn't focus on other matters related to the county. So I just want to extend out to Ms. Shear, and I will be asking that we send her an official letter thanking her for her time and her due diligence in getting these matters resolved to their conclusion.
Mr. Peck?
Yes, I will open it up. Yes.
As good as it is to have an attorney putting our case forward, putting our best foot forward before the Open Meetings Compliance Board, past experience has shown that no matter how good your defense, if you violated the act, the Open Meetings Compliance Board is going to find against you. And so the real thanks, in my mind, go to our staff and our legal office for advising the council's conduct through this period of COVID restrictions to ensure that we are conducting business in as openly and transparently as possible under these really difficult and changing circumstances. Had we not been acting under their good advice, we might have run afoul of the Open Meetings Act. But I want to thank our own people for advising us in a way such that we've been acting as openly as possible under these circumstances, and we have the OMCB telling us that this indeed was appropriately done.
I certainly agree with that. Anyone else before we move on? Okay, Mr. Cooper Smith, thank you very much for giving us that update regarding the Open Meetings Compliance Board ruling on those two matters. And thank you, and enjoy the rest of your evening as well. Well, you'll be with us to the end. You're not going anywhere. So let's move on here, Council. We have introduction of legislation. And Madam Secretary, if you would read the title of that, please.
A bill to authorize Talbot County, Maryland, the county, to borrow not more than $350,000 in order to finance and refinance improvements to certain wastewater facilities in the county, and to effect such borrowing by the issuance and sale of one or more series of its general obligation bonds payable from ad valorem taxes to be levied by the county, exempting the bonds from the provisions of sections 19-205 and 19-207 of the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, authorizing the consolidation of separate series of bonds into one or more bonds, authorizing the refunding of such bonds, and relating generally to the issuance and sale of such bonds for such purposes.
Go ahead, Corey.
I'm sorry, I did it again. I had myself muted. I was saying, I don't know whether you or Ms. Lane want to speak to this before I ask for introduction. I'm sorry. Am I muted again, Mr. Hollis?
I apologize. I'll let Ms. Lane say a few words. She worked on this project.
Okay. Ms. Lane?
Myself. You're muted. Unmute myself. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry. I was having trouble unmuting myself.
I did the same thing myself. Floor is yours, Angela.
All right. Thank you very much, Council. The little background on this bill, in May of 2020, Talbot County and USDA Rural Development entered into an agreement that would allow the county to borrow $350,000 and accept grant funds in the amount of $1,050,000 from rural development for the final phase of improvements to the St. Michael's wastewater collection system. This bill will authorize the county to actually borrow the $350,000 from the U.S. Department of Agriculture Rural Development for the final phase of the St. Michael's wastewater collection system upgrades. As you're aware, all borrowing bills do have to be authorized by legislation, and this is the bill, if introduced, that will allow us to pursue the borrowing of these funds.
Okay, thank you, Angela. Any questions of Ms. Lane about the process we're going through here and the purpose for the borrowing? I would have to say, Angela, I think we have been upgrading the lines beneath St. Michael's in my whole time here with the county. I mean, the first time I heard about I&I was Ray Clark giving a presentation on these sewer lines. And here we go 10 plus years later, we're still working on them. So
I believe this is the final phase.
This is the final phase. Okay. Okay. All right. Any other question or comment of Ms. Lane before we have a show of hands, or we have a roll call, I should say? Okay. If not, Madam Secretary, because we're virtual, I ask that you would take a roll call on the introduction of this legislation as read by yourself and as explained by Ms. Lane. Please take the roll call. An introduction only. Aye.
Mr. DeVillio?
Aye.
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Okay. And Madam Secretary, I would turn to you for a bill number and a public hearing time and date, please.
Yes, this will be known as Bill number 1466.
Okay.
The public hearing will be scheduled for Tuesday, December 8th at 6:30 p.m.
Okay. All right. Very good. Ms. Lane, thank you very much for your presentation. Appreciate it. Okay, Council, moving right on. We have one matter here left over from last time we met. This is Resolution 296 that is eligible for vote. Madam Secretary, would you please read the title of the bill, of the resolution, please?
Resolution number 296, a resolution to formally abandon and authorize conveyance of a certain portion of Cates Point Road in Trapp, Maryland. Said portion of roadway consisting of 0.4 miles, more or less, located astride two parcels of land held in common ownership with addresses at 31373 Cates Point Road and 31450 Cates Point Road, Trapp, Maryland 21673. Further described as tax map 60, parcels 10 and 12, collectively the property, to establish certain conditions precedent to such abandonment and conveyance, including a survey of the area to be abandoned and revision plat at the owner's expense, and to authorize conveyance of the county's interest in such abandoned portion of the roadway by quitclaim deed for no monetary consideration to the underlying fee simple owner of the property.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. We had a public hearing on this matter the last time we met. Since that time, we received upwards of 60 emails, which are also part of the official records. I don't think any of them were supporting the resolution at this time to abandon this road. It's a beautiful site. If you haven't had the opportunity to go down and look over the Chop Tank River and watch the waterfowl come over the treetop and land there, I can imagine how serene it is to be on a kayak and paddling your way out through the marsh into the mouth of the small Chop Tank River there. So council has this matter before it. It is eligible for vote. Again, we do have several emails. Again, I think my last count was up to 60 emails on this matter. The chair will now open this matter up for discussion.
Mr. Pack.
Yes, Mr.
President Pack, I would, this is a very sensitive subject. We've gotten a lot of emails.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd be a little bit more comfortable for the time being to table this right now and work on a decision in the next couple of meetings and come back and make my decision.
Okay. All right. Mr. Callahan is asking that we go ahead and table 296 at this time. Again, this is an administrative resolution. It does not have an expiration date on it. Council can pick it up whenever we see fit. I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic right now. Maybe this is not the time even to do this. People want to get out and kind of de-stress and walk the roadways with their dog and, again, look over the marsh area there. Maybe this is just not the appropriate time to take this matter up. Tabling it does not kill it. It does not mean that it will expire. Whenever council feels it's ready to discuss it or decide on it, we can always pick it up again, just to go over the ground rules with that motion. Any objection to tabling this?
No, Mr. Pack, quite honestly, I have plenty of information in hand now to see that this is not in the public interest and would be ready to turn it down. But I know that there was a late request came in. There were 4 emails that came in since we started our workshop at 3:30 this afternoon that I've not yet had a chance to review. One that came in this afternoon was from an adjacent property owner that was requesting a change. I don't know that we need to make a change in this legislation in order to turn it down, but we might give ourselves the opportunity for that to play out. For that to take place, I'll second Mr. Callahan's motion.
Okay. I did go through that letter from the council representing Mr. and Mrs. Wise. Understanding there was some talk about a gate being placed on Case Point Road, and the letter from my gist of it just talked about the placement of that gate so it would not impede Mr. and Mrs. Wise exiting their driveway. But the fact still remains that any gate being placed on that roadway, either west of that stand of trees or east of that stand of trees, would still impede people from going down and enjoying the sight of the river. So yeah, that did come in today. It did come in to council's inbox today. So there's a motion to go ahead and table 296 at this time. Again, I'll reiterate one more time for persons listening. Tabling this matter does not mean it will expire. That does not mean the council is rendering a decision on it. It means the council is basically just setting this matter aside for a later date. It doesn't have to be next week. It doesn't have to be next month. It can be whenever council decides to pick it back up off the table. Okay? We have a motion by Mr. Callahan and second by Mr. Lesher to table 296. Is there any more comment before I call for the vote?
This is Councilman DeVillio. I'd just like to say that I appreciate everybody waiting. I reached out to the roads department and our engineering department to see what it would cost to maintain that culvert there. And I've also had a few people that have told me recently that we should just purchase land down there by way of eminent domain since it's been used publicly so long. And I've yet to find the public access on a map. So between the cost of maintaining the culvert and trying to locate the public property, I do have a couple more questions I'm waiting to finish.
Okay, and again, if this matter table is successful, then that will give you ample time to ask those questions. Okay, we have a motion and a second to table on 296. We're going to set, if it's successful, we'll just set it off to the side, pick it up at another time. No more questions or comment. Madam Secretary, please call the roll to table 296.
Mr. Pack?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio?
Aye.
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Okay, very good. We're going to set 296 aside, and whenever a council member or members choose to bring it back up, please let the chair know. Thank you. Mr. Hollis, I believe I'm done with the council's portion of its agenda. We'll just turn it over to you for county manager report.
Thank you, Mr. Pack. Council, we're requesting your direction on the appointments to the Maryland Association of Counties Legislative Committee. Currently, Ms. Price serves as the primary member representing the county, with Mr. Pack serving as the alternate member. Those are one-year appointments, and the time has come at MACO's request to find out what you want to do for the following year.
I'll support those seats.
I'll try again. I think Mrs. Price has done a great job, and I think she deserves that position. And I think she represents what we think really good job. And you know, Mr. Pack, you back it up with your experience and the way you handle things, and so I'll support both of you being reappointed in that position. And Mrs. Price, you do a great job, and we really appreciate all the time and effort that you spend up there every week. So, and we'll get it done.
Well, thank you. I have a really big job ahead of me. You probably couldn't have gotten rid of me if you tried, because as tomorrow morning I will be moving up to first vice president of MACO at our board meeting, and the first vice president chairs the committee. So this is going to be an interesting year to figure out how we do this hybrid virtual, what we're going to do. But I'm going to try to keep all of the ducks in a row, and moving up from the subcommittee chair of budget and tax to chairing the entire committee. So I very much look forward to the challenge.
All right. I know you'll do a wonderful job up there at that. So, Mr. Hollis, why don't we have Madam Secretary just call the roll to make sure these appointments are on the record?
Thank you.
Mr. Pack?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio?
Aye.
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Thank you, Council. Requesting the appointment of Clay Stamp as your county manager effective January 1st of 2021.
I move for the appointment.
Is that a matter for council vote?
It would probably be a good thing for Mr. Stamp.
I don't think that's a matter for council vote, Mr. Hollis. That's a personnel matter.
That's fine. It's listed on the report, but you all decide what you want to do.
I know. I don't think that's a matter that council actually votes for that. So, as a personnel matter.
If that's the direction of council, that's fine.
Yeah.
Requesting.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I will ask council to come into the council chambers whenever you get a time over the weekend. There is a letter that we will need you to sign off on regarding Mr. Stamp's appointment. So that will require a council signature. So I will ask all members to please stop in here when you can to offer your signature to that. How about that, Mr. Hollis?
Whatever is council's pleasure, Mr. Pack.
Fine.
Mr. Pack, aren't such appointments, isn't it in the public interest to see such appointments done? Maybe not the interview process, maybe not all the other things that go on in personnel, but the final appointment, isn't it appropriate for the public to see us act on that?
Again, I don't see any harm in it, Mr. Lesher. It's just something we haven't done before as far as the appointment of a county manager. Generally, the council makes the decision, the appointment is done, the letters are signed, and again, it's been noted in the paper. I didn't even think about talking to Mr. Cooper Smith about this during our pre-meeting conversation because, again, I just thought it was an announcement of the appointment. I don't know there was an actual vote to be taken on the appointment, but and any way that you guys choose to do it.
So,
yeah.
So, Mr. Pack, I'm sorry. So I've probably created this problem. I recall that I was appointed in public. I don't know that that's a requirement. It's certainly fine for me and with great pleasure to simply announce that you all have made the appointment of Mr. Stamp as county manager. If we find out for December 8th that we have to do a legal vote, we're happy to do it that way as well. Your call.
Let's do this. Let's cross every T and dot every I. Madam Secretary, on the appointment of Clay Stamp as county manager effective, I got to grab the letter here.
January 1st would be appreciated.
Thank you very much. January 1st, 2021. Would you please call the roll?
Mr. Pack?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio?
Aye.
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Thank you, Council. And we have a bid award for bid number 20-11, request for proposals, addictions, counseling, and case management services, Talbot County Department of Corrections, Easton, Talbot County, Maryland, requesting to do awarded to the low bidder Life's Energy Wellness Center Incorporated, and that's in the amount of $66,122, and a total of 2 bids were received.
Any comment or question on the bid request? Hearing none, Madam Secretary.
I'll make a motion to accept the request and the bid.
Okay. Motion on bid 2011. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Pack?
Aye.
Mr. DeVillio?
Aye.
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Ms. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
So, Council, my last item is a question. Based on conversation at your last meeting and consultation with Dr. Wadley, your health officer, this meeting was moved to a virtual format. It's my recommendation and that of the health officer as well that continues through the month of December and through the month of January. I should say that's my recommendation based on the input from Dr. Wadley. I would like to know if you're comfortable moving forward with that, if you'd like to take a formal vote, or we can just have on the record that you all are going through the month of January on a virtual format, and then determine at that time how you want to proceed after that.
I would concur with the analysis. Mr. Hollis did have a conversation with yourself and Dr. Wadley. And also Mr. Callahan and I spoke about this recently as well. I think it's just out of an abundance of caution that we proceed through January with the virtual format. We saw it tonight. It works very well. We had 4 or 5 presenters tonight. And I think Parker has done a great job, and I acknowledged him last week, and I'll acknowledge him again in working out the bugs and getting this straight. I think what happened earlier was basically on my end, dealing with my iPhone, so I don't think that had anything to do with the system. So I would just lend my support and appreciate you and Dr. Wiley thinking ahead as we try to stem the tide of this deadly virus. I would support the recommendation of the county manager. All right, any other council comment, question?
I think it makes sense for us to go forward in this format until we make an affirmative decision to change.
Okay. All right, so let the record, anyone else?
Go ahead. No, sir.
No? Okay,
I just have an announcement, Mr. Peck, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
So just for the county public's information, county offices will be closed on Thursday, November 26th and Friday, November 27th for the Thanksgiving holiday. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hollis. Mr. Cooper Smith, are you still with us, sir? You haven't drifted off to sleep on me, have you?
Yet.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Well, we've reached December, or just about reached December, reached November, and it's time for election of officers as per the charter. I'll turn it over to you for directions of the council and how we want to proceed with the election.
Sure. So we will start by doing the election for president of the council. And if council has not done so already, please send me your vote. You've all received ballots already. And if you could go ahead, if you haven't done so already, and send me your ballot for president. So we will tally that, and then we will go on and do the vice president. So let me check my email for any incoming. And just for the public, since we are doing this virtually, this is a little bit of a different process. We usually walk around and hand out the ballots. Here, we're just doing it virtually. So let me check my email, and I'll tally up the votes, and I will announce the president. Okay, we have all the votes in, and I'm very pleased to announce that the next president of the Talbot County Council will be Mr. Chuck Callahan.
Congratulations, Mr. Callahan.
Thank you. Thank you, council. Really appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, for those who have not submitted a vice president ballot yet, please submit that, and then we will count those votes and make that announcement. Okay, all the votes are in, and I'm very pleased to announce that the next vice president of the council will be Mr. Pete Lesher.
Congratulations, Mr. Lesher, on your appointment of vice president.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate your trust and confidence. Honored to serve.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, Pete. Looking forward to working with you. Don't screw this up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Rich Smith, thank you very much for handling that for us, and so we have that matter done. Public comment. Parker, are you there, or Jess, who's handling the public comment portion?
Okay, we have several callers on the line and people in through the computer. If anyone calling in online wants to make a comment, please hit *3 or *3 on your phone. Currently, no one is indicating a desire to speak. No indication.
Okay, I just didn't want to move on without giving them a moment or two. Maybe they can't find the button, so.
Again, it is *3 on your phone.
Okay, just let the record reflect. We did give appropriate time for persons online to follow Mr. Durham's instructions. It appears, Council, that there are no listeners who wish to give public comment at this time, so we're going to move on with our agenda. I'm going to open up to council comments, and I'm going to start with Mrs. Price as she's going back to Mako as first president next year. Laura, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's an incredible organization. You know how much I love it over there. They have wonderful people to work with and wonderful people to work with here in Talbot County. And I just wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving and, everybody stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Congratulations. Mr. DeVillio, I'll turn it over to you next.
Hey, Corey, I think he accidentally dropped off by mistake, so let's give him a few minutes to come back on.
Okay, then why don't we just go ahead, since you're there speaking as the elected president, why don't I just turn it over to you? How about that?
Yeah, well.
You got big shoes to fill, don't you?
I know it. I got huge ones, I got huge ones, so I'm going to put you off to the side for a little while with a mask on.
Stay with me.
Exactly. Now, Council, I really appreciate it. I mean, what an honor. And it's going to be sort of a learning experience, driving the helm a little bit. And I'm looking forward to, I've got a good crew behind me, and I feel very confident that, we can bring a lot of things together for this year. We got a lot of work to do. We've had some hiccups here in the last, 6 to 8 months, and I'm looking forward to kind of, making some of those things, how do you call it? Just uniting us together a little bit, bringing these personalities. We've got a new manager coming, and once again, Andy, you're going to be with us to the end of the year, and I can say I was really I'm going to miss you. You're a big part of this team, and you're always going to be a good friend to us. And what you've done for the county, in the last 17 years is, it's really getting to know you. For the last 6 years, I didn't know you. And I don't want to pat you on the back, but you've taught me a lot. You've been a good friend to me. You've taught me a lot about being a councilman. You were a councilman yourself. So I really looked up to you on some of this stuff, and you helped me through it. And I'm really going to miss that. So I'm proud of what you're doing and retiring and doing other things in your life. And, we're all going to support that. And anything that we can do to make things and help you, we're always going to be here for you. So I want you're irreplaceable in a sense. And, we were just blessed to have, Clay step up and want to do this job, and, I want to commend him, and I'm proud of him. And, I'm looking really forward to getting to work with him. And I think council is too. And for somebody like that, from trying to replace an irreplaceable person like yourself, to step in a tough job. It just shows credibility, shows character. And right now, we need to build off the very positive things that are happening right now with all this council stuff. And, you know, I congratulate you, Pete, and I'm really looking forward to building a relationship and working together on some of these tough subjects that we've got to deal with and looking on all some good stuff. You know, we've got sewer coming in certain places, and, you know, I'll have good people around me. Corey, you know, you've taught me a lot. You taught me what to do and don't do. You know what I mean? So, but you've been a good.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I know it. And you've been a good friend too. You know, we've butted heads a lot of stuff. But you know, we're going to keep on moving down the road, and you know, we're going to agree to disagree, and we're going to maybe throw a little bit a new new character around here, new style around here, and see how you handle it. You know,
right?
You know, hey, and you know what? I'm very proud of you because you're casual tonight.
Yes.
But they said that's a good start. That's a good start.
That's a good start.
It's a good start, buddy, and I appreciate it.
Absolutely, congratulations. Did Frank rejoin us?
Yeah, I guess not. You know, I guess not. Yeah.
Let me turn over to the new elected VP. And Pete, you have any words to say?
Mr. Pack, just briefly, I want to thank you for your service as council president these past 2 years. I respect your knowledge of procedure and your experience in conducting a meeting, and I want to make sure that your long service in this role, which goes back far beyond this council, does not go unrecognized. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you, sir. Okay. We're sorry that Mr. Villio got bumped off.
Yeah.
I'll just add my congratulations to both you and to Chuck, and Chuck, you know, I'm just a phone call away. And you're absolutely right. We can always agree to disagree, but be civil about it, even in our disagreements. And that's the one thing that I cherish in working with you, is that we don't always have to see eye to eye, and that's democracy. We don't always have to see eye to eye, but be able to state our sides of a particular matter, and to do so respectfully. And I certainly thank you for that. I think Pete's a great number 2 to have with you. I think his years of service on the town council is going to be a valuable asset as you two guys move along in the upcoming year. Mm-hmm. And you're right, you got Clay coming in as county manager, and it's a dynamic with the county president and the county manager to work together. I've had the pleasure to work with Andy over a number of years as county president. And it truly is great to have that relationship with the county manager that can sit down and talk to you honestly about things. And even when you may be going too far afield, which I sometimes have a tendency to do, he can be able to say, hey, Corey, come back in, you're outside in the rain. So, and that's something that he and I have acquired over the many years of working together and knowing each other's temperament and so forth. So I'm sure that as you and Clay work together over this year and into the next, that you also have that bond and that relationship. A lot going on over the next week. I'm going to join Miss Andrews in saying, hey, have a happy Thanksgiving. But have a safe Thanksgiving. I would ask that you not have those big gatherings. There's Frank. Frank, let me cut my comment short and go to Mr. Villio. Frank, we'll turn to you for council comment.
Oh, well, thank you. You didn't have to do that.
No, great.
I immediately called in. I heard Pete's words. I'll echo those. From the very beginning of my term, obviously it was a very different election than I think we've had in the past. There's a lot of difference of opinions, and I always appreciated in the beginning how the meetings were run, how you would make sure that we were all even and equal, and I greatly appreciate that. looking forward to Mr. Callahan and Mr. Lesher as the new heads of the council in a little bit different direction. And I'm looking forward to working with Mr. Pack. Obviously, with changes in presidents, we see changes in the rest of how everybody responds. And everybody seems much more casual tonight. No neckties. I did text Clay and I said I will not be wearing combat boots, though we're not going that far with it. So I appreciate our friendship that we've had, the times that we've worked together with you as the president. You've obviously taught me a lot about what I should be doing and what council members should be doing, and I appreciate that. So I look forward to learning. Always open to learning from everybody. I will really miss Mr. Hollis with this, but I regret to lose him, but I'm looking forward to this and moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you very much. So yeah, just as I was saying, just wanted to echo what Nancy had said earlier. Enjoy your holidays, but be safe in doing it. I was joking around with Mr. Hollis in one of our conversations. Maria and I had about 13, 15 family members we had initially invited to the house. This was early part of the fall. As the numbers start taking a turn for the worse, she and I decided we needed to shorten our list. So we flipped the coin. I won. She had to make the phone calls and X a couple people off the list from up in PA in New Jersey. The numbers kept on going up. So that got us from 13 down to about 7. Numbers kept on going up. And talking to Dr. Watley, and hey, we had to flip another coin. I won again. She made another phone call. We had to cut off the folks from Baltimore from coming over. So we went from a list of 13 down to a list of 2. So now what am I going to do with this 13-pound turkey that I have? Anyway, but we're just saying, just be safe. Just if you have to have people over, as Nancy was saying, still practice the 3 W's. If you can do some stuff outside, that'd be great too. Do it outside on the deck or whatever, but just be safe at it. Okay. All right. So with that being said, the council's next meeting will be held on Tuesday, December the 8th, beginning at 6 p.m. Will not be held in the It will not be held in the Bradley meeting room, as council has just indicated. All of our meetings through December and through the month of January will be virtual. You can find all of that sign-on information on the council website forthcoming. The council will be convening an open session at 4:30, and then immediately adjourning into closed session to discuss real estate, legal, and personnel matters as listed and stated on that meeting agenda. Madam Secretary, is there any other matters before council this evening?
No, sir.
Okay. Council members, with that being said, we are adjourned. Again, congratulations, everyone. Mr. Stamp as well. Thank you.